Hi, I'm Ole from subphotic.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to improve your rap vocals without the use of excessive hardware, excessive plugins. Maybe one EQ and maybe one compressor is all that's needed to make a polished, dope sounding rap take. And of course, some time-based effects such as reverb and delay afterwards, but minimal, because we are going to do what is necessary and what it takes before anything hits the computer. The first thing is the distance and the angle to the microphone. Now, if you move closer to the mic, you will get more bass. If you move further away, you will get more treble. And in this way, the distance from the mic is sort of like an EQ. It functions more or less like an EQ. So you can improve this by recording, playing back, and really listening to what works the best for your voice and the microphone you have. In this way also, you can get a lot out of cheap microphones, such as this. Have you heard of this before? The Generis microphone company. I bought this in, I think, 2001 or 2002. This was my first condenser microphone. Before that, I have owned a couple of Shure and some other mics that I can't remember because that's more than 20 years ago. Those mics can sound awesome, and it's all about the distance and the angle. Now, there's another video that I've made recently that is about this type of thing. You can check it out. The link is in the description, where I experiment with angling my mouth according to the capsule of the microphone. And you can also check in the same video, I demonstrate how my voice sounds when I'm up front and all the way at the back, and all the in-betweens. So it's really a matter of your own judgment. Where does your voice fit the mic? So that's the first thing. Second thing, room treatment. Especially if you're a beginner, you can't even start to imagine how important the room treatment is to get a good, decent sounding recording. If you record in a room without any treatment at all, for example, in your living room, you will get a lot of resonances. You can always take away the reverb, the room reverb. You can use plugins like Isotope D Reverb, for example, from the RX bundle. You can take away a lot of reverb. But the reverb that is smashing while you're speaking is interfering with your voice. Now, this is almost impossible to remove, except that you can use EQs such as the brilliant Pro Q3. You can use it across all the spectrum and remove or dip in many places, but that will leave artifacts as well. So it's not really that effective, because you might create more problems than you solve. What to do? Room treatment. A room treatment can make this Generis microphone sound like $5,000, I'm sure, with proper room treatment. Now, what do you have as room treatment? Well, you have clothing pins, haven't you? If not, go to some hardware store, buy a couple of sets of clothing pins, and while you're at it, at the same hardware store, grab some hooks that you can screw in the ceiling. And at home, you have some duvets, you have some blankets, you have some carpets on the floor, and maybe some pillows, maybe have a couple of mattresses, some heavy furniture. And from that, you can make a makeshift vocal booth with practically zero money spent, except you might need some clothing pins. But there are other ways of hanging it up. But with clothing pins, they're easy to use. So it will save you a lot of time, and you don't have to ruin your duvets. So hanging them up around you, especially behind you, while rapping, you will notice a world of difference. Your mic will sound like $1 million. Next up is the delivery. How you use your voice, how much power you insert in your bars, and how much energy you deliver. Some parts are soft, some parts in your song are hard. When you are rapping into the microphone, you have to deliver more power from the guts than you otherwise would have. Make sure your voice is heard and make sure people believe what you say. When rapping myself, I try to imagine the words that are coming out of my mouth and try to visualize the words and what they mean. Even though it's trivial stuff I rap about, I try to visualize them anyway, feel something for it, maybe happiness, maybe sadness, maybe anger, whatever feeling these words can provoke. I try to conjure those feelings into my voice. I don't know if that sounds spiritual or strange or weird, but that's how I feel and that's how I do it. And I think for myself that I do this with great success. And when speaking about delivery, diction is also one key element here. And using the correct diction without exaggerating. Again, this is a matter of practice where typically your K's and your P's and your T's and your S's, try to maintain some control over that in the diction. Don't overdo it, but certainly not underdo it, because your words will become muffled and unclear, and you want your point across, especially when rapping. Unless you don't have anything to say to the world, you can just shut the fuck up. It's not hard. And finally, when your recording has entered the almighty digital audio workstation, there's one more thing you can do, or a couple of things you can do that doesn't involve any plugins, and that's first of all comping your best pieces from the verse. When laying down the lead vocal, you want to have several takes. Even though your first take is nailed and to the ground and solid, you take 3 or 4 more takes just to make sure that you get everything right. Because when you lay down the verse, there's always something that is off, maybe off in pitch according to the beat, or maybe off rhythmically, or one word that you use a different vowel sound or what have you. There can be many different things that obliterates your take. So do 3 or 4 takes, and then you can comp them together. I'll make a separate video for how to comp vocals in a good fashion. Easy in Logic Pro because they have nice facilities for comping vocals, but I think in every DAW they have some comping facility. I seldom use that facility. I do it the old school way because I've been doing this for so long. So I just have tracks stacked down and I will just listen to them and pick the best stuff that I can hear. I'll listen and pick the best, but I know there are faster ways, but I'm old school. So that's comping. And then you have clip gain automation. It's sort of like a manual compressor because you are actually compressing the sound waves. You're taking the peaks and then you're lowering them in volume, and you take the lowest sounds in the vocal take and then you make it louder. That's clip gain automation. And after you're done with all your other processing, which may be EQ, compressor, and so on, you do the volume automation. It's where you ride the fader, with, for example, this is the device that I use to ride the vocal with. I use my fader and I'll ride the vocal to make it fit the beat even better, to make all the words intelligible and make it sound more punchy, add whatever dynamic was taken away with the compressor and the limiter and the saturation plugins and everything. I'll add back some naturalness, and I don't know. I just love writing faders. It's one of my passions when it comes to mixing. So I guess that's it. There are many things you can do. You can be aware of the angle and the distance from the mouth to the mic. You can use some sweet sound treatments such as duvets and blankets and mattresses. You can do intentional delivery. You can 10x yourself. You can be wary of diction, using the correct diction, not underdo it, but not overdo it either. And then there's things that you can do inside your DAW, such as comping, clip gain automation, and volume automation, riding the fader. So what do you think? Are these good tips? Would you do it any other way? Hit me up and let's discuss. And finally, before you go, if you're having this vocal take ready and done, you want to mix it, download my free vocal checklist. The link is in the description. Make sure you get it now before later, because it's now you have to start improving your vocal recordings. Just grab it right away and remember to subscribe if you like videos like these. And maybe if you subscribe, I might catch you in the next video. Peace!